This is my Bettye Lane photography presentation by Brooke Smith. Bettye Lane was a photojournalist who documented numerous crucial events in American history, including movements for civil rights, gay rights, and feminism. She always was seen with a camera in hand to document everything from marches to conferences. She pushed for real change, doing what she knew best: photography. New York Public Library and Harvard University, among others, recognizes Miss Bettye Lane. Lane was born in 1930 and grew up surrounded by love since she was one of 8 children. She came from Italian immigrants named Luigi and Antonetta Foti. Lane, at a young age, was thrown into the work field. Her father had to move back to Italy, and it caused hardship for their huge family. She ended up dropping out of elementary school to work for a shoe factory. As she grew up, she did her best helping out wherever she could, until she ended up at Boston University to study public relations in 1959. Lane finished school in 1962 with a new background in current events. Lane soon found herself being hired by not only the Saturday Evening Post in New York from 1962 to 1964, but also the National Observer from 1966 to 1977. This job truly picked up Lane's career. She decided to dedicate her photojournalism career to women's rights, civil rights, and gay rights based off the Observer's editor's recommendation. She met him at a protest, and she was truly inspired by his devotion and dedication that it completely changed her view of her work. Over the next several years, Lane got her first big break when she was given the assignment of the women's strike for equality. She decided to go to the protest, and after that, it was like you couldn't keep her away. She attended every protest, rally, or speech for the movement, even if it wasn't her assignment. This is how Lane became known as a photographer for the women's rights movement. Lane eventually left the National Observer in 1977. She became an independent photographer where she took assignments freely from multiple press sources like Time magazine and the Associated Press. During this time, Lane narrowed in on her work to expand from women's rights movements to civil and gay rights. This means that she was seen at more protests specifically for the Vietnam War and gay right marches, such as Stonewall riots. This became one of the known photographs for Lane. This is because she was one of the only photographers able to actually take a picture of the Stonewall riot. It is one of the most famous images taken from Lane. As she became older, much of her time was spent devouring through her images. I can only imagine how many that must be, since her work was featured in over thousands and thousands of media outlets. Even one of her photos was used in a U.S. postal stamp series in 2000. Lane unfortunately passed away on September 19th, 2012. This was due to various health problems, including cancer. She was survived by her sister and many nieces and nephews. Her legacy will continue to live on through these photographs that she's donated to many institutions, and she will always be known as the photographer for the women's movement, since her photography has changed so many people. It jump-started for media and for many women to really push for themselves and push for their rights, and her media allowed for me nowadays to be able to have my rights and be able to say what I want because of women like her. She truly is inspiring, and I hope one day that my work will be able to impact the world like her work impacted it.